a changing climate, our efforts to create peace and safeguard security must also change. Development, humanitarian, and peace-building initiatives can no longer be blind to future climate impacts. But what works? What have we learned through our fieldwork and research to sustain peace in a warming climate? Think about future climate impacts in your peace-building programs.
Sustaining peace in a warming climate means that when we're looking at peace building, when we're looking at addressing the root causes of conflict, we understand the environmental and climate change implications to the drivers of conflict.
Think about conflict in your climate adaptation and mitigation programs.
If you are resilient, if you have the institutions that can mitigate the conflict, then it doesn't automatically lead to violent conflict. And that's why you really need to build a peace-building approach and think about the conflict dynamics into your climate adaptation and your mitigation programs.
Understand and address existing gender and generational inequalities.
At the moment, gender is seen as a kind of normative thing. Let's include more women. Let's work towards women's equality in peace-building contexts. But we want to say that working on gender norms is actually strategic. It's part of the peace strategy.
The generational gap is also some of the things that we have to be dealt with, which means giving opportunity for young people in leadership and giving them access at that level also is important.
Tap into the synergies of different development goals.
We can't have programs that only try and address people's access to water or their access to livelihood support. We need to try and find ways of bringing those things together. And there are some examples of programming. For example, programs that try and build infrastructure at the same time as having objectives to reduce conflict within communities that can be really helpful in that regard.
It is clear that countries' priorities vary and that solutions depend on the specific context. Any action we take must therefore be based on a real understanding of the conflict dynamics and be sensitive to environmental factors.
I think when you start to look at how we cross sectoral lines and be more holistic, that is actually the real key to a peaceful solution. So that it's peace, development, environment, human rights. We've got to look at them all together. We can't pull them apart and expect that we can deal with one and not the other.
I hope that the international community will be able to become more flexible, less doctrinary, more adaptable, listening more to what seems to work or not work from their partners in country, and that will be able to be less fragmented, more united, and more in a listening mode than we have been up to now.
For further information, please consult our recent publications.